I'm going online right now.
I'm not coming to get something.
Just telling you. All right, we got to do the flight check. We need to check OBS. OBS good. Audio input capture is a go. I'm going online right now. Oh, there we go. There's part of the flight check. Just telling you. Duplicate sources off. Charts are a go. Switch to big head. All right, we are ready to go. How you doing, friends? It's Ernie. And today there's not a whole lot going on today. It's it feels like, well, see, I'm from the Northeast, and we have our spate of fantastic weather, changing seasons, but we also have some of the nastiest storms you could ever imagine. No, they're not hurricane like they have down in the Southeast, but in many respects they're equally as bad and often as forceful and damaging. They're something called nor'easters. And the funny thing is, before a nor'easter occurs, before it actually hits shore, and when it hits, one of the things that is really intense about a nor'easter storm is that it sets up off of the coast of Maine and Massachusetts into this area in the Atlantic Ocean. And it has this tendency to just sit there and then start spinning and spinning. And then the spin usually will come in right underneath Boston. And I live just south of Boston. And that's where the epicenter, it's like a big heat pump and it will just sit there. And for days, 40, 50, 70 mile an hour winds and driving rain. And if it's snowing, huge blizzards. But before that all happens, about a day before, everything's calm. There's no wind. It feels like all the birds stop chirping. The bugs go away. It's like all of nature goes on a respite. They're gone. They're hiding. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they know to take shelter. Of course, we know because of our weathermen that it's coming, and so we know to take shelter and prepare. Put up the storm windows, all that stuff. That's what it feels like right now. It feels like we have that lull before the storm. That is what I am feeling. Ernie, from France. Capture, good. Sorry for your English. No problem. Yeah, there was an echo. I took care of that. So we are experiencing that lull before the storm. Now, we have a trade on with PatternCast right now with Bitcoin, and it's a short trade. And we had a follow-on signal that came out that wanted to expand the range even more, which meant that this short trade, from all estimation, is actually becoming more likely and stronger, even though what's happening out there in the cryptoverse seems to be exactly the opposite. Volatility is starting to shrink. Not as much news. Things are going quiet. People were kind of excited about this little move up that we had. But now we're sitting here in this kind of holding pattern going sideways with diminishing consolidation. Will we go up? Will we go down? And then the longer it goes on, maybe the more the anticipation builds. But still, there's this lull, a quietness. What's going to happen? Well, there's patterns underneath all of this. Patterns that PatternCast sees, hence the name PatternCast. And like I said, we got a signal a few days ago, 2 days ago. And then yesterday we got another signal, but it was a non-signal. Well, it was a signal, but it said the same thing, that we were going to get this pullback, but we would have had to rise in price even more. And if we did that, then the target was even lower. I mean, already the target for this current call, and you can see it right behind me, is huge. Our entry is at 82.13, the target at 73.31, 900 points. 900 points. So the follow-on call, which doesn't appear as if it has any chance of triggering, has an entry of a good 400, 500 points above us, but the target is another 400 points below the 7,300 target. So it's this sort of expanding range. And it just reminds me of this kind of nor'easter where there's this anticipation, quietness, no signal, but in the background, the energy is building up. It's building up. And last night and yesterday, we rose a little bit above the target, the entry point. We didn't quite reach the entry of this new expanded range, but this is what PatternCast is seeing. It's identifying patterns that are anticipating an expanded range, and it's not necessary that you actually hit the exact entry point, because the entry point is just a line amongst the sort of a spectrum of different possibilities that could happen. And as we go higher and higher up, that eventual target is dropping lower and lower. In other words, the whole range is expanding. And so we got about, halfway, 3/4 of the way to that new entry. So I have to now expand the target. The target appears to be expanded. It appears that more energy is building and building, and very quietly though. It's like what happens with nor'easters, and the most intense nor'easters are a confluence of events. It's one major front meeting another front, and then sometimes with a third front coming in all at once and in this kind of perfect storm. As a matter of fact, they even made a movie about that called The Perfect Storm. It was starring George Clooney, where it would produce 130-foot waves off the coast of Massachusetts. But that's what's happening. That's what happens out there. These storms, they build and build and build, and they suck all the energy from everything around it, because it's all kind of moving into this apex. That is, I believe, what is happening here. Bitcoin is getting set to come down, and come down hard. I am thinking at least 1,000 points. At least 1,000 points. Now, does this make sense? Now, this obviously, we look at PatternCast as our secret edge. PatternCast makes us all better traders. It provides a statistical edge. We get all the statistical information from PatternCast too on these calls. How many times this occurrence has happened in the past? How many times that it has turned out a positive result? What are all the striations and different levels? What if we were looking for 100% probability as opposed to 80% probability? What is the possible return on capital? You can ask all these questions to PatternCast, and it provides them for you. And this is all based on this sea of patterns and statistical historical events. It sees them, and then it sees today, and it sees similarity in the past. Then it provides us with these sort of what-if scenarios. Well, what if it rises 100 points? Well, you get this many times. If it rises 200 points, then you get that so many times. If it rises 300 points, then you get this and that so many times. So part of working with PatternCast is asking it the right question too. Or you can ask it a whole myriad of questions. and then it will provide these answers for us. And with, just amazing clarity and speed. And this is what we trade from. And the proof has been in its performance over, since we started the Bitcoin service. And certainly we have a lot more information with the traditional markets, with futures, forex, and equities. Over 350 trades right now. But with the Bitcoin now, we're up around, I think, 40 signals, 22 trades. So 22 of those signals actually triggered and turned into entries. And of those 22, I like to say 20. Yeah, 20 is the right number. The other day, we would have said 19, but it turns out that 20th one actually on the fourth day turned up and ended up being a big winner. So it's actually 20 out of 22 trades that have netted positive results. So we got that 20 divided by 22. So we've got 91%. 91% with an average return of about $600. $600 of movement, average. Now, that doesn't include all the outliers. We've had some outliers that have gone well beyond 200%. So, and that's what's interesting about these stats with this very limited set of data over the past 45, 50 days is that it mirrors maybe a little bit better than the stats that we've accumulated with the traditional PatternCast signals for traditional markets. And with that, we have many, many more instances in trades. We have, something like 1,200 signals, of which about 350 have triggered. And not 91% success, but about 84% success. And we think that the Bitcoin service is actually going to perform much better for one particular reason, and that is because Bitcoin is 24/7. 24/7. 24/7. You can't say that about futures or stocks. They have intermittent times where they're blacked out. They go to sleep on weekends or at night for stocks. Bitcoin goes 24/7. And so that continuity seems to favor the detection of patterns. There's more clarity there. I guess that's the best way to look at it. So anyways, we are, okay. Yeah, okay, good. The echo's all good. All I says, hey, Ernie. So you're saying there was a non-signal at around 8,600 with a further downside of 6,900. Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And see, that's the beauty of PatternCast, because a lot of these non-signals contain very, very important information. Because the signal is one thing. It's all the striations of other data that comes in with that PatternCast might move into that you're not aware of. And we look at that, and that helps us develop our edge. AUAG, gold and silver $9.99. How you doing? From Scandinavia. I love Scandinavia. Ernie is whispering, not yelling. Time to go play the lottery. Well, I'm trying to emphasize this sort of lull. The lull before the storm! Yeah, I agree. The Storm was a great movie. Any updates on H-bar trade strategies? H-bar trade, or not worth getting involved for now? I don't know what H-bar trade strategies are. I probably do know. I just don't know what an H-bar is, or what the acronym is. So you'll have to explain that. All I says, couldn't be happier with PatternCast. It's given me a great edge on trading and allowed me to become a much more balanced trader on my own. That's awesome. And then Code 3er. I'm all in, but definitely need some coaching or assistance. I feel a bit overwhelmed just starting this whole beautiful process. raising 3 kids, working full time, and going to school online. That's a lot to take on. That's a lot to take on. If you're all in and you have that much and you're new, then you shouldn't be putting real money to work right now. Concentrate on getting your execution strategy, your execution skills down, and your position sizing strategy down. Paper trade. All right? Get good at it. When you feel comfortable with it, then you won't have that anxiety of all these other things. You can find a way to fit it in. I know what it's like having a young family. For me, that is, it's way, way, way in the past. But, you can feel overwhelmed. So you need to figure out how to compartmentalize everything and make sure you put the requisite time and effort into this thing, because let's face it, you need to have reverence for your money. The money that you make is a direct reflection on the effort that you put into you being a better person. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reflection, but that is a very, very strong reflection about the quality of your effort. Oh, Hedera Hashgraph. No, I have no information on that. I haven't been following any kind of altcoin at all. I am 100% focused on Bitcoin. Now, we are working on altcoin signals. I don't know when they're going to come. We're working on very difficult problem, mostly because some of the people that we've hired as programmers are not always the most reliable people. Or their schedule doesn't have the same urgency as our schedule. Let me just say that. Crypto Opinion says, very interested, keeping a close eye on this. Cool. FOMO, Ernie, FOMO. H-bar is your only legit crypto except BTC. And I've actually, I speculated on that a long time ago. And I've interviewed some of the people from Hedera Hashgraph, and I've studied their overall technology and governance model, and I agree 100%. If there was another crypto that's out there, the big thing that it doesn't have going for it is that they do not have widespread holding or networking with people. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they bring that together. Crypto Yo says, can you go over the process of when multiple signals are given by PatternCast? Do we go by the first signal given until 4 days up, or if another signal comes out by the new signal? New signals supersede older signals. New signals supersede older signals. So if we're in a trade and it triggered, and then the next day a new trade comes out and then it triggered, then that is the new signal that we are going with, because that now is the best information that PatternCast has going forward. So that's how we play that. You're dying for the ETH signals, the Ethereum signals? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how valuable they'll be. I'm sure PatternCast will be able to knock them out of the park like everything else, but there's far less liquidity and volume in those signals, and Bitcoin dominance continues to grow. And I don't know if that's going to stop anytime soon. It appears that dominance and the weakening of cryptos, that spread is continuing to widen. So it's going to be interesting. Will PatternCast yearly members get access to the altcoin signals? Yes. Oh yeah, the altcoin signals come with the basic PatternCast for Bitcoin service. I don't call it crypto right now, because right now that would be misleading. It is just Bitcoin, but we are working. I can tell you this for a fact. I've been working with the developer, really getting our aggregation technology down, because that is really the main problem here. The main problem is finding data for those altcoins. And it's not so much just finding the data, it's then fixing all the gaps and the inconsistencies with the data across multiple exchanges, and then coming up with a signal, an aggregate normalized signal that is consistent and reliable. And that takes a lot of work. It takes a real lot of work. Yeah, so I understand that ETH has a lot of good movement in it and presents a lot of opportunity. Chuck says, Swirled CTO Lehman Baird is kind of smart. I would say that he's beyond kind of smart. I would put him in the category of brilliant. Chris Corey, I know you did a video with Lynette Zhang, but don't I think that she's too extreme in her opinions? All those gold silver dealers seem to be the same. Yeah, I agree. They are the sort of everything is doomsday, and silver and gold are the only answer. But see, that's her business, you know? She's got to build up that hype and that fear and basically create a problem, create a need, create a reason for you to buy her shit. But I like her nonetheless. I think she's a very nice lady. And speaking of that, you're going to see something very soon in the gold, silver, precious metal space with PatternCast. We are going to be introducing, and I will be introducing, a new market-targeted service for precious metals. And so that will include futures for gold, silver, platinum. It will also include a wide range of ETFs and also individual companies that we will be using PatternCast to scan and provide market-specific data using the PatternCast pattern recognition engine. And that's coming out very soon. Like, when I say very soon, I mean like days. So, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought up Lynette, because I'll probably be giving her a call and telling her about it. All right. According to the parabolic moves seen in Bitcoin back from the beginning, the price could now drop significantly before going up to new all-time highs. Okay, I don't know how much relevance I would put on parabolic moves or SAR or any other type of indicator in determining, exactly what's going to happen, because they're really not that good at predicting. But I'll buy it. The Crypto Opinion says, so in reality, based on the latest signals, stop loss would be advised before 8,500, allowing room for breathing, something like that. I don't know what you mean by a stop loss at 8,500. I really don't play stop losses, to tell you the truth. Don't play, no stops. Of course, I have a catastrophic stop, if things go out of hand, but we're not in trades long enough generally for that to make a difference. And I'm not. I have no fear of any kind of risk of price just running away from us. ETH long swing trade in order to gain more BTC is a good idea at the moment. Maybe. We'll see. Great Days is talking to all eyes. H-bar, referring to Hedera. Centralized only because they just launched. Please check their roadmap and government strategies. Government, or I should say governance strategies. So, their governance is an attempt to make this as decentralized as possible when starting out without, a wide holding. Roger Fu, how you doing? Are you planning to jump on the Hashgraph wagon? All right, we talked about that a little earlier. I am a fan of what Hashgraph has. I'm not jumping on any wagon until they're established and have proven it out. I like their technology. I like their governance model. I like the people and their attitude. So, but I am not. This is not a race. I am not going to just jump on to the next thing that comes out. Right now, from my view, Bitcoin is the only game in town, and it isn't really even there. So, Ernie, I know you don't like fibs, but what's to say about the 0.618 golden retracement historically before finding true support, or our 618 retracement is exactly around 7,200? Some validity there? No, other than the fact that you saw it at 7,200 and said, oh, if it touches that, then it must therefore be true. Yeah, I put zero confidence in determining trades based on Fibonacci levels. There is zero statistical evidence, or I should say statistically significant evidence that trading off of fib levels will make you rich in any kind of prescriptive manner. Now, someone might be intuitive, and it's not really the fibs that are making the money, it's them. And then they'll say it's fibs, but it really isn't. Because then if they tried to come up with some kind of process for you to use their strategy, no one else could use it. Fun gold fact, says Sean. With the 10,000 declaration rule for U.S. customs, gold being $50 legal tender, you could take 200 gold eagles valued at $300,000 with you and not have to declare it. Totally private. Wow, I never really thought about that. Because it is legal tender. It is currency. Isn't that interesting? But you wouldn't want to bring 200. You would want to bring 199 because you do not want to go over the $10,000 limit. Will the CME be able to tame Bitcoin? That is not their purpose. Their purpose is not to tame Bitcoin. Their purpose is to simply to offer the product and offer a quality exchange regulated with well-known margin rules, standardization, etc. And I think that the CME has already done a really good job with their Bitcoin futures product. It's very expensive and doesn't have a whole lot of leverage, but see, that's the way they're taming it, I guess. That's what you're asking. The CME is taming it by making it very expensive to trade Bitcoin with futures. Crypto news. Wouldn't throw out fibs out the window. Just look at the hourly. You could show me all kinds of things. I've done more studies than you'll ever see in your life. Literally hundreds of automated systems doing statistical studies from here until Sunday, from the beginning of time to the present. I'm telling you, there's nothing to it. All right, so to recap, it looks like Bitcoin is going to move down. We are currently in a trade with an entry of about 8,200, as you see above me, with a target of 7,300. We believe that target now has been expanded to as low as 6,900. So we're looking at over 1,000-point move should Bitcoin start moving down. And it doesn't have to, my confidence will be extremely high if we move down to 80, 60, 80, 40. Then I think once we get beyond that level, you're not going to be able to pull or rein it back in. Backed volume versus CME. That there is no backed volume versus CME. There is no backed volume relative to CME. Backed is like nothing. I mean, it was a big nothing burger. All right, so we got the trade going. We got the announcement about a precious metals specific PatternCast service. It's going to be very competitively priced, although there is no competition, so I don't know what that means. Let's say, I don't know, what would be a good price? $49 a month? I think that would be a good price. Of course, lifetime members, they get access to it in the PatternCast world. And we'll see. I don't know if 49 is the right price or what. We'll float it out there and then see what people go for. Maybe we'll do a little less. I don't know. And that's it. Trade, precious metals, lull before the storm, general market info. I think that, really nothing going on right now. Alts just kind of fizzing away. And that's something that's good for the market. And it's something I talked about for the past year. That until we get rid of and just sort of flush out all these alts, we need to, free up those resources, free up investment money for real first-class crypto-oriented businesses. Thanks, Chuck. It was my birthday a few days ago. Really appreciate that. I will be sporting some more Bitcoin-appropriate attire soon. I thought it would be fun, so it should be coming in the mail soon. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for showing up. Really appreciate it. Make sure you go down and smash that like button. Smash the like button. And share this, please, out onto your social media. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Take care.